Hey you guys, Amanda Jensen here. Nice to see you again. And today I wanted to make a video for aspiring actors. And this video would be probably best tailored for folks that are more at the beginning of their acting career. If you're more seasoned and you've been doing it for a while, you may or may not get benefit out of this video. I hope maybe you'll still learn a few things, even if you have been acting for a while. But this video is an overview, 10 steps that I wanted to make to help people that wanted to start acting and they really don't know what to do, or they wanted some kind of framework to get into it that might help them. So obviously there's lots and lots of other actors with YouTube pages and lots of other acting coaches out there. And everyone has their own unique perspective and opinion. So these are just some ideas and steps that I think would be beneficial. And it's based on what I've learned as well. Also, I would say I'm kind of like in the middle of my acting career. I still sometimes feel like a beginner, even though I have done a lot of acting, a lot of commercials, video shoots, and those kinds of things. And I've done a lot of acting classes, but I still feel like a beginner because I'm not doing a lot of bigger roles yet. I have done some big roles, but I'm still waiting on more big roles. So I still have a lot to learn, but I do know a few things at the same time. I think for me, when I will feel like I've arrived is when I'm making consistent money, like enough to do acting full time. And that may be challenging, I would think, for majority of actors, but not impossible. All right, so without further ado, let's get into the 10 steps. All right, so step number 1, get headshots. Get a variety of headshots, both for commercial and theatrical headshots and castings. So commercial headshots are going to be generally smiling with teeth, generally happier headshots. Theatrical are going to be more moody, dramatic, generally not smiling, some kind of other expression that would convey the role that you're wanting to play for film or TV. I could do a whole video on headshots, which I may do. I may do a separate video another time on all these topics. But for now, we're just going to do an overview. So at any rate, you need to get some good headshots. And it's good to have a lot of options and colors because you're going to tailor the headshots that you use to apply for different roles. So for example, let's just take Christmas movies. If you want to apply to castings for Christmas movies, maybe you can have happier headshots with like a red shirt on or a red background or green. You know what I mean? Kind of think about what kinds of roles you want to play and then tailor your headshots for those. If you want to take it a step further, you could also get branding photos. Those are slightly different, and I'm not a branding expert, but you could use the branding photos more so for your social media and for promoting yourself to directors, producers, talent agents, and really just to grow your brand as an actor. Step number 2, start applying for and auditioning for local small projects or unpaid projects. The purpose of this is just to get some things on your resume or some credits built up and some experience. It can also give you demo reel footage. A demo reel, which I'm going to do a separate video on demo reels, but a demo reel is a collection of acting clips that you can send for castings or to directors when you're wanting a role. It just shows your acting ability. So you should start looking for local small acting projects such as student films, non-paying acting work, background acting work, theater, plays, or any type of non-paying acting work to gain credits, experience, and reel footage. And almost all actors do this. Don't think that you're above it. It's just, you know, you need to get some stuff on your resume. You need to get on film sets and television sets and commercial sets so that you know what you're doing, you're comfortable, and that you have stuff for your resume. So it might be easier for you to apply to things where there's less competition. I did something a few months ago. It was a small speaking role and it was paying. and there were actually 9 other people that auditioned for it. And that's a super small pool. Normally the things I audition for, and most actors audition for on the casting sites, there's going to be like hundreds, if not thousands of other actors applying. So if you start out doing things where there's less competition, you're more likely to book those things, so that, again, you can use that to put on your resume, or your IMDb, or your other casting sites, and you can build up some real footage, hopefully, as well. Number 3, once you have at least a few of those projects under your belt, you can begin to create a resume. The resume is another tool that you can use to apply for more acting jobs. And most of the casting sites and talent agents do want you to have a resume. And sometimes for specific films or projects, they want a resume, not just your casting network's profile, or not just your Actors Access profile. So at any rate, you can put training on your resume, whatever you have to put on your resume. I have a separate resume where I put modeling on it, and then I have a separate resume where I only put acting on it. So I have a long one where I put like my social media marketing experience, modeling, acting, and all, like basically everything. And then I have an acting specific resume as well. The next step, training. I do believe in formal education and training. Not every actor believes in doing training and education. Some actors just gain experience, and to each their own. But I believe training is helpful, and I believe it ultimately will serve us to go to higher levels in our acting career. But this is another thing you can not only put on your resume, but it will give you more confidence and tools to do the work. So when you go for a role, you know how to do a script analysis. You know how to create imaginary circumstances for your character. You know how to use emotions and demonstrate emotions. I do think training is important. It gives you more credibility. And at some point, I think not having training could hold us back. Now, again, every situation is different, but just my opinion. All right, number 5. So now that you have a few projects under your belt, some training, and you've begun a resume, it's time to build your casting profiles and casting websites online. There's probably hundreds of casting sites out there, and I'm on over a dozen myself. But the main ones and the best ones would be Casting Networks, Actors Access, and maybe IMDb Pro. I have all 3 of those, and many, many more. You do not necessarily need the paid versions of any of these. They do have paid versions where you can add as many photos and video clips as you want. It gives you more accessibility. It allows you to apply to castings on your own, so you don't have to wait for agents to submit you. So if you can afford it, I do recommend the paid versions. But you can certainly do the unpaid versions and have your agents submit you once you get talent agents, which leads me to my next point, number 6. Get agency representation. You could start by going to acting network events, and try to meet agents on your own. Sometimes doing classes and training will allow you to meet agents that way. You could also ask other actors that you actually know and or have worked with. So if you're doing these smaller projects, you're going to start meeting people. It's not really industry standard to reach out and ask for referrals if you don't know the person or if you've never actually worked with them. It's better to ask people that you know, or even like your teachers that you're training with. They can give you referrals as well. Or the easiest way is you could simply just apply on their websites. One of my favorite talent agents is Professionally Pretty. They're a Florida-based agent, but they do represent people all over the country. But at any rate, you could Google talent agents in my area, whatever city you're in, whatever state you're in, and then just apply on their website. The talent agents do prefer you to apply on their websites. Even if you do get a referral, most of them still want you to apply on their website. And I would say apply to as many as you're willing to. I've applied to dozens and dozens and dozens over the last few years. And I have many, many non-exclusive agents. I have decided to not go exclusive yet. I have like almost 10 talent agents. And personally, I like that because it's more opportunities to get jobs. And they're all different in terms of what they offer. Some are more for modeling. You know, some can be just for commercial representation. Some can be just for TV and film or theatrical representation. So it's really up to you to decide. So do a search in your town or state and check out what agents are in your area. Usually you'll need headshots, a resume, demo reel footage, your measurements, you know, like your bust, waist, and hips. And for men, you'll need your pants measurements and those kinds of things. They're going to want some basic information from you when you apply to the talent agents on their websites. There's also a lot of free talent agents, like Casting TaylorMade, that put out free castings on social media, so you can look for those as well. The next tip, number 7. Once you have a resume and online profiles and casting sites set up, and maybe even some talent agents, it's time to start applying for acting jobs and castings yourself. Certainly your agents should be submitting you, but you can definitely submit yourself to things, and I would highly recommend that. I've booked a lot of things just from submitting myself. I need to get more discipline with this myself, to be honest with you. I don't apply as much as I should. Another thing you can do is joining Facebook groups and other social media groups or pages. I mentioned this before, but definitely search for agents and casting sites that put out castings for free on social media. Another one in Florida is KLR Group. She puts out a lot of free castings. So that's really nice. There's many free ones out there on social media. If for any reason you can't get a talent agent, you can still submit yourself to things. You can still get castings from Facebook. So you could search acting jobs in my state on Facebook and try to join some groups. And you can also network, of course. And then let's see. Okay, my last tip for castings is to set an alarm for like 15 to 30 minutes and then apply to castings during that time. You could do it every day in the morning. This is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get myself into a habit to applying to castings more on my own, because to be honest, I usually wait for my agents to do it. All right, number 8. All right, number 8 is audition. So now that you're probably going to have some audition requests coming in, you need to actually audition for the roles. Ask your friends or fellow actors you know to give you feedback on your auditions. If you don't get any auditions right away, you could do monologues. You could create video monologues, search scripts online, and ask others for feedback on your monologues. See if your teachers will give you feedback on any of your auditions, but you do need to do the auditions. And I would say this is the hardest part of being an actor, is consistently doing auditions, because some actors say that it takes them a full day, if not 2 days, to complete an audition. Everybody's different. You know, I've heard of actors slinging out like 4 auditions in a day, you know, doing it like an hour for an audition or even less. It really depends on how long the audition is. Do you need to memorize it, or is it short enough where you don't? Is it non-speaking where you can just mime out some actions? And auditioning is a whole, you know, art of its own. You could take classes on auditioning specifically, and self-tapes, making self-tapes, that's the industry standard now. You could take training classes on self-tapes, and I would recommend you do that. And like I said, I might do some specific YouTube videos on each of these topics in the future. I'm still learning myself, but I have done coaching with a lot of coaches, and I've taken online classes for self-tapes specifically, but I want to do more training myself on self-tapes. But you will need to do the auditions, and again, this is the hardest part, because it takes time. You've got to get ready, you've got to prepare for the scene, you've got to memorize your script, you have to film it, and then you have to edit it, and there's specific editing software for doing auditions. My favorite one is CapCut, but there are a lot of editing softwares out there. My final thought about auditioning is that I do believe that it's practice for acting. So try to have fun with it. Try to view it as acting practice, because I believe God rewards those who treat the small things with professionalism. So if you keep working at it, you will get something. And sometimes you can book things just from photos. That's always really fun when you can get booked for something just from photos and you don't even have to audition. But you should still be working on the craft all the time. All right, number 9. When you get booked for jobs, show up and be professional. This is really important. A bad attitude can burn bridges and prevent you from getting future work with people or with a company or with like an ad agency. When you get the work, you do need to show up, you do need to prepare, and you should bring a good attitude. So this includes like actually learn your lines, be professional. If you don't, people will notice and people will talk. And not that you should be doing it or not doing it for that reason, but it's just like be professional and do your best, and then you're more likely to get more work. I think at a minimum, an actor's job is to learn their lines, like bare minimum, know your lines. But you should also bring a good attitude, be nice to people, show up on time. And again, it's about showing God that, you're going to be faithful with the small things so that you can receive bigger things later. All right, number 10, finally, stay committed. This is probably the most important one. This industry is not for the faint of heart. It is very, very challenging. There are so many reasons to quit. I mean, it's literally a fight. For me, it's been one of the most difficult but rewarding endeavors I've ever done. I became a doctor of psychology, and a licensed psychologist, and I would honestly say that becoming an actor has actually been more difficult even than becoming a doctor and a licensed psychologist. And I guess that's good because it's making me grow as a person, but there's just are so many variables in acting and the industry that you cannot control. The odds of booking are not that great. The booking rate is very low. I think, what is her name? I think Bryce Dallas Howard from the Jurassic World movie, she said that the average booking rate is like 1 in 60 auditions. So that is not very good. I feel like my booking rate has been better than that, but I've booked a lot of things from photos alone and not just from auditions. But, not like necessarily the big giant things that I want, but the booking rate is not that great. And that goes for both commercial and TV and film. There's statistics out there that you could research. My acting teacher said that for Stranger Things, like literally they received like over 5,000 auditions for one tiny role. So, I mean, the odds are not great. So that's why it's good to start with those smaller local projects so that you can actually do the thing and you can gain the experience and you can figure out, is this something that I even want to do? Do I like it? So doing the smaller projects with less competition first can give you a chance to build your skills and figure out, is this something I really want to do? But, it does require resilience to keep going. The industry is full of challenges, a lot of people that lie, a lot of projects that get shelved. You can get booked for something and then not hear about it for 2 years. There just are so many variables, and it's almost like standing on shifting sand. That's how I think it feels. So you need to be tough. You need to be resilient, to have a no give up spirit. And I personally think spirituality is really important, like leaning on God, having healthy habits, trying to build relationships with other people who support your choice and your career and your endeavors. Finding other like-minded actor friends that support you, I think, is important to have. And just supportive people in your life that support your artistic endeavors. because there will probably be many people who do not support it. So if you're at the beginning of your acting career and you're noticing people not supporting you, even family members, just know that you're not alone. That is common. That is normal. I guess we could call it just opposition, maybe. People don't understand, they may not understand your calling, your desire and dream on your heart. They may not understand how it could be possible. Maybe even they wanted to do it, but they're too afraid. There may be a lot of reasons why they're not supporting you, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. And if you're noticing closed doors and you've tried before, that doesn't mean you should stop necessarily. So just keep going, just keep trying, do whatever it takes. The industry will give you many, many reasons to quit. So anyway, I hope this is helpful for you in getting your acting career started, and I wish you good luck on your journey.